Welcome to the co-creators, connecting you with artists, innovators, and thinkers who are rewriting the status quo. From the creative process, finding purpose, God and the universe, here you.
We need to tune the fuck in, decentralize, dethrone, and decide now. We are the co-creators, and this is the way out.
And welcome to The Way Out. My name is Keen Simoni, and I am your host. Thank you guys so much for waiting. I took a few months off. I went away from the summer, came back to get going, and I got acid washed off the entire internet. So I guess that was kind of demoralizing, but I'm back. Got all my accounts going, and just received my first strike on YouTube today. So let's see where this goes. So I wanted to return with a bang, and it's quite a synchronicity, actually. I was looking for guests last week, and I just went to my emails, and I received received an email from the guest that we have today, and it is definitely going to be a bang. So I first found out about him on the Tinfoil Hat podcast. I think it was a Conspiracy Always Leads to Spirituality. So that was it. In my eyes, he's a top leading spokesperson for Flat Earth. It's definitely a very taboo subject, and he kills it every time I listen to his shows. I love it. His name is David Weiss from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole on YouTube and the Flat Earth podcast. That's Dearth. David, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. You know, you said you got deplatformed, you got a strike. I used to say you must be doing something right, but now everybody gets it. So, you know,
it's not so cool anymore,
I mean,
right?
You could just say, I don't like somebody. Oh, strike, you're out. You know?
That's communism for you, brother.
Yeah.
So, Flat Earth, man, it's quite a subject. I would put in the notes here if we could maybe get like a 2-minute pitch of why people should continue to listen to this.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. When I first heard about Flat Earth, you know, I did a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, where we dove into all of the, you know, conspiracies that are going on, you know, the thing in New York and Connecticut and Boston and all of the other stuff. And people started sending me Flat Earth stuff, and I would just ban them from our social media for being so stupid. And they would say, please watch this video. Watch this 1-minute video, a 1-minute video. Wouldn't watch it. It's too dumb. It's the dumbest thing ever. And so what if the earth is flat? Even if it was, what difference does it make? I still have to go to work tomorrow, you know? And that's basically where I was. And then finally I was forced to look, and I said, all right, that's it. I'm going to prove the globe. And for 2 weeks, day and night, nonstop, I tried to prove the globe. I tried to debunk Flat Earth, and I came out the other side going, holy crap. You know, this world is not what we think it is. And then I'm like, oh, what difference does it make anyway? What difference? And it's not the shape that makes a difference. It's the difference is knowing who you are, where you are, and what you are, and what power you have. You know, the scan. You know, people say Flat Earth is a psyop. Well, no. The fact that it doesn't matter is a psyop. The fact that, you know, that you believe you live on a spinning ball flying through an infinite vacuum and a godless universe or a distant God universe, that is the psyop right there, because that depowers you. When you understand what the Flat Earth is, you find out that you're at the center of creation, that you're important, that you are in a special place. And, you know, hey, I'm not doing this because I want to feel special. I want to know something that other people don't know. I just want the truth. And once you understand what the truth is, it's life-changing, to say the least. So
yes, you answered my question there. One of my questions that I had prepared is why lie? And I think that's like really the first one that people, if you're having a serious conversation, they actually let you speak.
Yeah,
I feel like that's always really the first one.
So if you look at what's going on in the world today, you know, people are being fooled on a level that's so epic that most can't see it. And the reason that they're able to get away with what they get away with is because people are lost in space. They don't know where they are. Their feet are not planted on the ground. They're spinning on a speck with trillions of other specks in a dark, lost universe. And they have no idea where they are. They give their power away. They live in fear. You know, the truest statement ever made is the only thing to fear is fear itself. And because fear makes you sick, fear takes away your power. Fear takes away your true energy. And the war that we're in is literally good versus evil, and they're feeding off of our energy. And fear is an easy energy to generate. An asteroid might hit at any moment. Or global warming. Now it's climate change because it's actually global cooling, and they don't want to tell you that they were 100% wrong. They want you to think that we're going to run out of fuel. We're going to run out of food. That terrorists are going to come. All of that is nonsense. All these wars, everything that happens is all stagecraft.
So last year, I came across Eric Dubay on YouTube, and I thought he was a complete nut at first. I don't remember what video I was watching, but I didn't give this guy a chance. And a few months later, I think I listened to him on Veritas podcast. I think it's called Veritas podcast, and he broke it down just like Veritas Radio, yeah. So he broke it down just like that, and I swear to God, like for the next few weeks, I was just unraveling into like a more of a deeper awakening. My meditations got deeper thinking on it, and it tripped me out because how do I explain this? I've never talked about this before. What I realized was when I was thinking about how the sun and the moon and all the stars and stuff, how we're revolving with it, kind of like we're revolving around the sun. I knew that was fake, like that was a lie, and I could look at people like you who could give the proof to that kind of stuff. And I was just wondering, like, what the fuck? Like, why does that involve me? And then when I realized, like, I don't think that it's necessarily revolving around the earth. More of my realization was it's revolving around me. And I am the center of the universe. I am, the God experiencing itself. And that flat earth helped me realize that. And that's why I give it so much time.
Absolutely. There is, everything we see is, we are the center of everything that we see. There's a thing that we call the personal atmospheric dome. And we see the luminaries in the sky through our own personal atmospheric dome. So if you and I are both looking at the sun and you're a mile down the road or 100 miles down, we're seeing the sun in two different places because the sun is in a apparent position based, it's projected, for lack of a better word, into the flat earth reality. Let's look at the helio-nonsensical model for a second. This is what we're supposed to believe, okay? That we are spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. That's 1.5 times the speed of sound, okay? Spinning, right? That means we're dropping over a curve at like 5 miles a minute, okay? And a curve, when you're in a car going 100 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour, going straight, you're fine. You can drink your water. You take a turn, okay, everything goes to the side. We're orbiting the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. Do you know how fast that is?
It's pretty fucking fast.
It's nothing that you can even fathom because you've never experienced 66,000 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun like a friggin' comet. The sun doesn't have a tail, right? So for some reason, at over 500,000 miles an hour, and that entire system's moving sideways at like 1,000,000 miles an hour or something crazy like that, right? But every year on the same night, whatever night you pick a night, go out and mark where the stars are tonight. And a year from now, and 10 years from now, 30 years ago, those stars are in the exact same position. Why all of this is going on. And by the way, all of these other stars in the background, they're all doing the same thing. They're all flying in their own. It's like a giant bee's hive, but the stars never change.
That's like the pyramids, right? They're built with the constellations.
Right. And they're lined up with the constellations, and they still are.
It debunks itself.
It just the fact that the North Star stays exactly where it is debunks the spinning, wobbling, twirling, rocket ship Earth. People that defend the globe don't even know the globe model, or attack flat Earth. They don't know the globe model, and everything they think about flat Earth is not what we think. They think it's a disk floating in a solar system with other planets. That's not what we think. They think that disk is rising upwards at 9.8 meters per second to get to create gravity. We don't believe that. Okay. They believe that, as you walk towards the edge of this disk, gravity will pull you towards the center. We don't believe that at all. They don't even have an explanation of how atmosphere can stick to the outside of a ball adjacent to a vacuum of space without a physical barrier separating the two. Second law of thermodynamics says you can't have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical barrier holding them.
So you brought up the edge, and this is where I mean, people, not all, but some people, when they talk about flat Earth, it almost gets lazy, where they just talk about there being an edge, or probably just psyops in the community. But where do you stand on that? What do you think the edge is?
So the way I look at it is, we're taught that the ball Earth, Antarctica is a continent at the bottom, 13,000 miles around. So here's the ball Earth, and down here is Antarctica, right? Sitting right under the ball Earth. Okay. But the way we see it, the Earth is flat, and the shoreline that goes around if you look at all of the oceans of the world as the world ocean, the world pond, and the shoreline that surrounds the flat Earth is Antarctica. Okay. So Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. If you go any direction, you'll hit Antarctica eventually, right? Because it's a circular lake. And then there's a 200-foot high cliff of ice. They call it the ice wall. And then there's hundreds of miles of ice plain, cold, dark ice. And then there's a mountain range that is reportedly higher than Mount Everest, okay? And that could go all the way around. So we live in the Antarctic basin. We live right here in this basin. The Earth is the basement of the universe, okay? That's the only way I can describe it. And everything we see in the sky is within the Earth system, within this dome. And it moves around. Now, everything we see, now there could be stuff above the dome. I believe that the sun and the moon, this true source, is above the dome, and we're seeing it inside the dome. Like if you get a glass dome, just a glass paperweight dome, and hold a light above it, look inside the dome, you'll see something that looks just like a sun. It's amazing, right? And if you make that light go across, that sun will rise and set inside the dome. Pretty cool. So that's how we see it. So, well, let's go to the edge of Antarctica and go outwards and see what's out there. Sorry, it's off limits. In 1957 or 59, they came up with the Antarctic Treaty. No person, no corporation, nobody is allowed to independently explore Antarctica until the year 2041. It can't even be questioned until the year 2041. In the treaty, it says it can't be questioned until the year 2041. Okay. And that's it. I mean, people say, well, the thousands of people go to Antarctica every year. Yeah. You know what? There's 15 companies, all owned by the same company. So there's really only one company. It's $10,000 to $20,000 or $30,000 to go for just a couple of days. They'll take you right here to the shoreline, right? And there's a little base right there. And they'll show you some penguins. You have to stay near the shoreline, right? Maybe they'll take you out a little bit and they'll show you a pole in the ground and they'll say that's the South Pole. Most people don't get to see that, but compasses don't work. GPS doesn't work out there. And so you have no way of verifying it because there's nothing to verify it with, okay? And that's it. Nobody is allowed to go to independently explore there. That should tell you something.
So there's no South Pole in this model. Just want to clarify that.
There is no South Pole. There is a south is every direction away from the center. North is in the center. Let me share my screen for a second, and I'll show you a little model that I have. Have you seen this? So this is the app I made to show people how flat Earth works. This is the world pond. The shoreline around us is Antarctica. Anything now during our talk tonight, anything that's beyond the shoreline of Antarctica or above the highest we can get in an airplane, or I'll call it 70 miles up because that's higher than an airplane actually, is speculation. So the world is a clock. The sky clock tells all. The sun, wherever the sun is, it's noon. So it's noon in Central South America. Ready? It's noon in New York City, right? It's wherever the sun is, it's noon. The sun laps the moon every 28 days. So the sun tells you the hours, keeps track of the days. The moon goes around once every 28 days, so through all its phases. So the moon keeps track of the months. That's where the name of months comes from. And then I can turn on the stars. The stars are going slightly faster than the sun, and they lap the sun once a year.
This app is awesome.
Yeah, so the sun will move backwards through each constellation about once a month, just like they show. And those constellations are the stars that we talked about that never change. They never change, okay? So the stars keep track of the seasons, and the sky is a clock that tells all. So we'll turn that off. I'll turn on the compass. Now, here's a big thing. People say, well, circumnavigation, that's how, that proves the earth is round. So I'm here in America, all right? North is the center. The center is magnetic north. Your compass needle will point to the north. So I want to go west. West is 270 degrees. I'm gonna follow this line. This line is west. West, I have to stay equidistant from the center. Remember, my compass is pointing towards the center. So I'm dead reckoning 270. And guess what? I went all the way around, came back to where I started from. I go the other way, east. East is a circle around the center. This does not prove the earth is flat. It does not prove that it's a globe. It just proves that east and west are circles. North and south are straight lines. So I'm here in California, and I'm going to go north, 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 north. Nope, now I'm going south. I'm still going straight, but now I'm going south, because south is every direction away from the center, and now I'm in the Far East, okay? That does not prove the globe or the flat earth. What's interesting is nobody has ever gone from like South America south and then popped up in Australia. Nobody's gone south from anywhere, like from South Africa, and popped up over here in New Zealand, right? It's never happened. You know why? It's very simple, because the earth is flat, because the earth is not a ball. Nobody's ever done that. And then I'll show you another thing, which is very interesting. It's the way plane routes.
I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah, I'll show you. But real quick, on this app, we have world time. So right now it's noon in East Australia. It's 4 a.m. in South Africa, in Central Africa. So this is the world time, and it goes around. But thing is, people will ask questions. Like, I offer people, I say, hey, I'll give you $1,000 if you can come up with one globe proof. Everybody thinks they have globe proofs. Well, all of your questions are answered on this page. You know, like, where's the edge? Or what about gravity? Or, you know, what about southern flights? We talked about that. Or why the lie, right? Why the lie? You click it, up comes a playlist of a whole bunch of videos that if you take the time and watch these. Now, these are videos that I made this app because YouTube is hiding flat earth. If you Google flat earth, you end up at the Flat Earth Society, and that's where all that other nonsense I told you that people believe flat earth is comes from. That's a government controlled website. So you have all of that. Also in this app, we have other languages, playlists in other languages. We have other links to other stuff. And then down here is the daily video. Every day there's a new video, short ones during the week, long ones during the weekend. And I tell people, if you hate flat earth, watch the daily video every day for 2 weeks, and guaranteed you will know that you don't live on a ball in less than 2 weeks. And what happens is people say, I saw you on so-and-so show, and I think flat earth is stupid, but I bought your stupid app for $2.99. And I took the challenge, but I didn't want to wait. So I hit the archive button, which is right next to the featured video button. And I haven't slept in 2 days. And my girlfriend thinks I'm crazy. I hate you, right? I mean, I get that all the time. And I say, welcome to flat earth. And then once you get over yourself, once you put your ego down and you realize you've been lied to your entire life, everything changes. So that's what I tell people. Get the app, because if you go on YouTube, you're just going to be led down so many dead hallways into nonsense. They have hundreds or thousands of paid government shills putting up flat earth nonsense to take people off the track. This app, if you said, hey Dave, send me a thing on Southern flights on how that proves flat earth, I'd send you a video, and then ScrewTube would immediately follow it up with another with a propaganda video. Hey, what about boats over the horizon? And I'll show you how they don't go over the horizon. And then ScrewTube will send you a total nonsense video. In the app, we have videos that debunk all of their videos, all of their National Geographic, all of their Netflix stuff. We take everything apart. But the thing is, you have to take the time, because believing's easy. Hey, I believe that you're an astrophysicist. You told me you were. All right, I'm going to go smoke a joint and take a nap, right? Or I could go, all right, where does this guy live? Where did he go to school? I could spend a week investigating and find out that you're not an astrophysicist, right? So there you go.
Where can we get the app? Can you get it on Apple as well?
Yeah, it's on Apple. It's on. Well, I made it originally just for Apple, but then I was forced to do Android, because Androids are actually more popular than Apples. But man, Androids are such a pain in the neck. There's like 9 million different phones with different operating systems, different screen resolutions. It's a nightmare. Occasionally there's a little bug, but we fix it when if someone says, hey, it's not working on this phone, we quickly adjust it and it's fixed. It's $2.99. Just look up Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. If you just type in Flat Earth Clock, it's one of the top hits. It's made by Blue Water Bay. There's a knockoff free one on Android, which doesn't, it's the worst app ever. What happens is I get a lot of emails. Your app sucks. It's doing this and that. I'm like, that's not my app.
We'll have it in the description as well, so you don't have to.
Yeah. I'll give you a link for that. But Southern flights. So hopefully I have my Southern flights graphic. Where did it go? All right. So if we look at this is a map of the world, and if you think of Santiago, Chile is at the bottom. Here's the globe. Santiago, Chile is down at the bottom. Australia is over here. Here's Antarctica, right? If you want to go from Chile to Antarctica, you can just fly right under. It's the shortest route. People say, well, you can't fly over Antarctica because it's too desolate and too cold and too dangerous. And okay, so we don't. We stay at like 55 degrees south or 60 degrees south, whatever it is, and we just fly around that shortest path right there. But that's not what they do. They fly all the way up to the northern hemisphere. They cut over, and then they go all the way down, right? That's crazy, okay? That's crazy. But when you look at that same flight path on a flat Earth map, it's a straight line. Airplanes fly over the Earth plane in straight lines, pretty much.
What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, people have no idea. Here's the thing. All flight routes are controlled by NASA. Now, you're aware NASA is a total fraud. NASA is a
You just said all flights are controlled by NASA?
All flight routes, all international flight routes. I'm not sure if little local ones are, but all international travel flight routes are controlled by NASA. Okay? NASA is here to make us believe that we live on a ball. They fake sent people to the moon to make us think we can live on a ball. If I showed you something, if I caught them faking gravity, faking weightlessness on the space station, if I absolutely showed you positive proof that they were faking it, they were hanging from wires, for example, or they were using green screens and CGI and all and the things that they're flipping around are augmented reality. If I showed you proof of that once, that's enough to know NASA's lying, and you can unwind the whole thing all the way out to the moon landings. But we could show it to you a million times. I say a million because it's countless. There's so many people that have taken apart NASA stuff. I mean, you remember when Elon sent his car into space? Okay, it's a joke. That's not even up as high as the space station when this was took, and the space station doesn't even show that much curve. And the whole thing was,
it's almost like a mockery.
They are mocking us 100%. I mean, think about this. That's pretty cool. They sent a Tesla into space, right? How many Tesla showrooms have a photo of this on their wall? 0. How many covers of magazines, National Geographic, Newsweek, Time, have Scientific America have this on the cover? None. Nobody covered it. It's not in any showroom. It's not in any advertisement. It's not on any magazine cover. Okay. There's no logos on there. This is complete and total garbage. And again, the Earth flexes, right? Because they're using fisheye lenses. It's like, I could have done a better job myself, and I'm not even a graphics guy.
Didn't they find a rat on this one?
You know, the whole rat thing, that was something that they keep each successive launch, they're now showing it again, you know, where the same thing happens, and they're saying that it's frozen oxygen or something. It's complete nonsense. I mean, you watch these SpaceX launches. What's that tinfoil that's wrapped up near the engine that's kind of fluttering, but this thing's going 17,000 miles an hour before it gets out of the atmosphere. It's going, you know, so fast. Don't you think that fluttering would just it would just vaporize? I mean,
well, to add to that, you have the astronauts that go outside of the space station to do repairs, quote unquote.
And
wouldn't they be like holding up for dear life?
Well, no, that's good. They're going to say because everything's moving relative and there's no air, so you wouldn't notice it. But all the wires, everything's outside. Look at a submarine. Everything's on the inside. There's 100 Navy guys there making sure all the seals work. But space, no problem. There's 3 nerds up there, that go on a spacewalk for 8 hours to tighten one nut. The space station is the most advanced structure ever built, and there's 0 video of it being built. 0. Not a little, 0. Okay. There's 0 of it being built. Here's something, Jupiter is a gassy, stormy, giant planet, right? These 2 pictures are taken over 2 years apart. They said, oh, look, we got this crazy aurora, right? Do you use any photo software? Could you do that in under a minute? Okay,
yeah, I could do that.
You could probably do it better. Okay. But if you lay these 2 over each other, every single little detail is exactly the same. It's just this one is a little lighter than this one. They're the exact same photos. So you have to believe 2 years later that all of those windstorms and everything haven't changed. It's the exact same photo. It's mockery. They're mocking the stupidity of the people of this world.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. I saw something similar that just brought it up. I saw it a long time ago with the picture of Pluto, and they actually put Pluto from Disney on it.
That Pluto, the dog, was created the same year that Pluto planet was created. This photo right here was taken by the Cassini spacecraft. I think it was Cassini, going at 60,000 miles an hour. How far is Pluto from the sun? So far that the sun is like a star, but it's this well lit, going at 60,000 miles an hour, and it caught this beautiful picture with a friggin' Pluto's head on it. They're mocking us. They're mocking us. They're mocking us in ways that are beyond what you can believe.
And did you say the character was created the same year that?
Same year. Right. NASA is evil. Okay. Their logo is a snake's tongue. Okay. They're literally evil. They're here to mock us. I mean, this thing had a car, 2 astronauts, and golf clubs in it. Okay. Right. It's made from paper mache, curtain rods, tinfoil, and duct tape, right? I mean, would you get in that thing and let them put you underwater, go use it like a submarine? You'd have to, because, that's less dangerous than putting it in the vacuum of space, right? They show us pictures of Mars, which are Devon Island in Greenland. Okay, the one on the left is Devon Island, and on the one on the right is Mars. They tell us. They tell us. I mean, look at the two. These are the two official photos, but they don't use the word photo ever when they talk about Earth. They say pictures and images. This one was on everyone's iPhone. The artist that made it and that told us how he made it in Photoshop is Robert Simmons, and he talked about how he photoshopped the clouds in, and he made he's like, well, there's more algae here, so he had data, and he says, I'll make this green, because that's what it looks like. And he just completely and totally made it up. And if you look at the clouds, they're stepped and repeated. The same clouds, stepped and repeated, stepped and repeated.
That's literally like a function on Photoshop.
It's so easy. I mean, but you have to think, are they that dumb? I kind of sometimes I go back and forth. They're that dumb or they're mocking us. I can't really decide. Because they're so dumb that I don't think that anybody can be that dumb. Yeah.
See, the way I look at this, man, is like this reality is just the best place to hide from God, and I'm saying that in the best way possible.
Hiding God is exactly what they're doing. They don't want you to. So here's the thing. Religions, all these religions, they're dividing mankind. You don't need a church to show you God. You are, as you said, you are God. You are a piece of God. They want us divided. If everybody woke up tomorrow and found out, without a doubt, there's a creator, they lose all their power, right? Because they want us believing there is no God. That we are just random specks, and that we need to take everything we can while we're here, and then we're dirt, we're worm meat or worm food. It's nonsense. Look, here's a picture. Do I have a better one? This is the 2012 image of Earth. And if you look at it, you have to look, just that circle is what we see. That's what we see. So you have to believe that all of that other land outside of that circle is on the other side of that ball.
What the?
Yeah. They don't even try. All of that other land, all of this is on the other side of this.
That's ridiculous.
Here's Mexico. South America comes down here a little bit, and that's it. And the rest is on the other side. It's a hard thing to do, and then if you look at Saturn, this is the picture that we all saw. It's in every textbook. We haven't got another picture since 82. But they didn't know that we're going to have Photoshop after that. You crank this thing in Photoshop, you can see the layers put together. They don't even cut it out.
You're shitting me.
Yeah, it's on. This is from their website, right? We found, the Earthrise photo from the moon. We put that in Photoshop. We cranked up the levels. They didn't even put a PNG circle Earth in there. They put a square Earth in there, and we could see the box with the Earth in it. I mean, but then they changed it. After we did that, they took the file out, they redid it, and they re-uploaded it. But we still have it directly from their site, and it's unreal, dude. The lies are so friggin' deep. It's unreal.
You think their risk management for this whole deception, you think they were expecting people like you, people like us?
That's a good question. I think that they know that this flat Earth awakening was coming. I think that there's a reset every 100 years, and there's nothing new under the sun. 100 years ago, 1920, 1918, 1919, 1920, that was the Spanish flu. You look back, there's people wearing masks or stories of mass deaths, right? The thing that we're not seeing is, what about all the other people that are saying there is no Spanish flu, no one's getting sick, it looks like they're doing the same thing now. I mean, who knows what they're going to do? The second wave that's coming in, is it going to be related to the cellular technology? I don't want to say it because you're going to be on YouTube. There's tyranny going on in this world right now. And the way that they're getting away with it is because people believe they live on a friggin' spinning ball in an infinite vacuum. People believe they live on this, that there's people standing up, that there's cruise ships upside down here with people on it. And up here, there's other people walking around, right side up. It's nonsense. They believe that planes fly around, they fly around this thing. They go around. Baloney. They fly across a flat plane, a non-rotating flat plane.
My favorite argument for, you made me think of it when you're talking about the cruise ship being upside down. Whenever someone tries to fight gravity or low gravity, how can gravity hold down an entire ocean, but in the morning it can't pull down a dew off of a leaf? That little tiny droplet stays there, and it's just hanging there on a leaf, and it can't drop, but it can hold down an ocean. And I always get that face like, oh fuck, you're right.
Right. How can I jump, but it can hold on trillions and trillions of tons of water? Okay. None of that makes any sense. So what about gravity? Why don't we all float away? If you're on a flat earth, where's gravity? The earth has a measurable negative charge to it. Okay. That attracts things down. It establishes a downward direction. That's it. Buoyancy and density sort everything out. I drop a microphone, it falls because it's more dense than the air, and there's a negative charge which tells everything which way is down. It's a weak force, just like they say gravity is a weak force. Okay, that's all it is. Helium balloons go up, right? Because they're lighter than the air around them.
Oh, fuck, man.
Yeah, right. Dude, there's
it's
no way
in your face common sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's go back to NASA for a second. And I'm not going to say a lot about this, but I'm going to show you an image in a second, because the way they trauma-based mind control everybody is with death and children. And so the Challenger the Challenger disaster, that's the first time ever that they wheeled televisions into every schoolroom. All kids saw that accident. They had the teacher on there, Krista McCullough, and they all died in front of the kids' eyes. Okay, this is so they can kick civilian space program way down the road. It's to traumatize kids. It's to unite people through tragedy. But somehow, when we go look, these guys, 6 out of the 7, have identical twins. Okay. So you could say, hey, the argument is NASA likes to work with twins because that way they can check the bone density of the one that went to space and the one that didn't, and they're getting data. Okay, let's just give it to them. Okay. Well, how come not one of those twins showed up at their sibling's funeral? Not one of them showed up at their sibling's funeral. That's all I have to say right there. We're talking complete and total nonsense, and NASA is evil.
That's crazy. I didn't know that's when they first put the TVs in every classroom.
First time they did that, right? First time they did it. Hey, if you went to the moon, would you be this excited during your press conference? You're the first guys to walk on the moon, play golf, drive dune buggies, take photos, have a good old time, hop on, jumping around, and then you come back. This is what you look like. These guys are being forced to lie. Yeah.
They got something on them.
Right. And they can't even get their story straight. I mean, there's so much, it's so much to it. People say, well, I seen the curve, the Red Bull jump, right? Here's the Red Bull jump. Okay. So we looked at the land here. That's planet New Mexico. All of that land is New Mexico. Fisheye lands. And you think about this. It went up there for like 3.5 hours and then he jumped. The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour to the east. It's spinning to the east. So if the Earth is spinning to the east, he goes up, he's going to land out in the ocean, right? Because it's spinning to the east, that means he's going west. He landed a couple 100 miles east of where he took off from. Okay? Somehow he sped up and outran the spin of the Earth.
Have you had anybody try to debunk what you're trying to say on this particular thing? Because I'm interested in.
No, well, what? No. That one they can't. They claim curvature. That's not true, because also when his door opened, there was a camera behind his head, and when the door opened at altitude, there was the horizon flat right at the camera's level. Flat, right? And then they showed the same view when he was on the ground with the door open, same camera, same position, and the horizon was at the same level when they were on the ground. So you want to go up 138,000 feet. Don't you think that horizon would drop down a little bit because you're seeing farther and farther?
Yeah.
I mean, it drops down 6 feet just at 3 miles, and it gets faster and faster of a drop after that. But it doesn't, right? It doesn't. These are fisheye lenses. This is complete and total foolery, trickery. If you're flying in an airplane at 500 miles, 550 miles an hour, the Earth curve drops at a mile every 2 minutes. Okay. So the pilot would constantly have to be nosing down. He would constantly have to be nosing down. Otherwise, he's going to fly right off into space. After an hour, he'd be 80,000 feet. Okay. Doesn't happen. They fly straight and level across, the FAA manuals and NASA documents and CIA documents all talk about, with these test flights and NASA flights and all airlines, it says treat the world as a flat, non-rotating plane. Flat, non-rotating plane.
They all say that.
They all say that. We have videos showing these documents. We read them to you. We make it easy. On the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, why the lie? Why are all pilots and all pilots and scientists in on the lie? Is this a religious thing? Is it all the questions are answered on there? Okay, nobody gets the app, takes the challenge, and walks away believing they live on a globe. And then here's the hardest thing: is after you lay your ego down and like, oh man, I was fooled. You look back and you go, how the fuck did I ever believe that nonsense? It's so friggin' dumb. I still kick myself. It's been 6 years. I still kick myself. I'm like, how did I ever believe that? I mean, here, you're by the way, you're done. You're a flat earther, just so you know. But if people that say the flat earth can't be true, it's a psyop, I say, give me one proof that the earth is a globe. Just one. What's your number one proof? And I get, here's the best proof. You're a moron. You out of your mother's basement. I don't have to give you any proofs because you'll just say it's fake. I can't wait until NASA in 2025 is taking people to their hotels in space. And then what are you going to say? Okay. That's their best proof, right? NASA has been going nowhere since 1957. They just keep kicking the can down the road. We're going to the moon. No, we're going to Mars. We're going to the moon. We're going to Mars. It's all nonsense. Nothing's going to. How come they don't have a camera on the moon? Now, the moon does rotate, but at the perfect speed where the same side always faces Earth. So as it's going around Earth, it's rotating. So it's always facing the same side. Put a camera on the moon, watch the Earth spin, show us when eclipses are happening, storms, everything, make a live feed. They wouldn't have to pay for it. They could put a Nabisco logo or a Pepsi logo on there, and all the sponsors would pay for it, okay? It would be the highest live stream ever, every single day. It would be everyone's screensaver. It would be everything. They don't do it because they can't do it. Well, people say, well, there's NASA Live, ISS Live cams. They're on YouTube all the time. Go look at them. It's the same 7 minutes of footage for the last 20 years. It's the same garbage. And if you watch, the glove floating, and the guys, and they're out there, you never know what they're doing. They literally spend 8 hours to tighten one nut this big. Okay, that's all they ever do. They only tighten one nut. But if you watch, and when they occasionally show you the Earth, sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's like this. The curve of the Earth constantly changes because they're using a fisheye lens, and depending on where that is in the lens, it above it curves, below it arcs. Sometimes they even show you a convex Earth where the horizon is curving like a bowl.
Is that Neil deGrasse Tyson's pear-shaped Earth?
No, Neil deGrasse Tyson says that the Earth is spinning. It's a little heavier below the equator, like a pear. But he's only talking about such a little bit. And people say, well, why are all of the shots of Earth round? And the argument is because you wouldn't notice that. Neil deGrasse Tyson says that there's a bulge of water at the equator 14 miles high. 14 miles high. Okay. Because the Earth is spinning, the water's pooling there, and it makes the Earth 28 miles bigger in diameter. So 14-mile bulge on both all the way around. Okay. 14-mile bulge. So let me ask you a question. If you're flying from North America to South America, you got to cross the equator. You're flying over the ocean, and you fly at about 35,000 feet is about 5 miles high. At what point do you climb an extra 10 or 15 miles to get over that bulge? Never. Nothing. Ever. Nothing. Okay. Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye, the lion guy, say, we don't need to talk to flat earthers. The science is settled. Well, science is never settled. Okay. Science is never settled when you have evidence. They have nothing. They will never talk to us because they can't, because they have nothing other than lies, misrepresentations, and math equations. You know, people say, hey, the Earth is flat. We've known it for 500. I mean, round. We've known it for 500 years because of Eratosthenes. He did his famous sticks and shadows. You know the story, right? You learned it in school. Well, guess what? Eratosthenes, that story from this famous mathematician that figured out the shape of the Earth, is in 0 books that predate the 1980s. The first book is a Rockefeller textbook that was inserted in the schools. It's a made-up story. Right? What? You have to assume that the sun rays are coming in parallel for this thing to work. Okay. Have you ever seen parallel sun rays coming out of the sky? Have you ever, you probably haven't even thought about it, but I think I have here. So this is what you see when they spot it. Yeah. Those don't look parallel, do they?
No.
No. So, but you have to assume that they're coming in parallel, and that way, if they're all coming in parallel and this stick has a shadow, well, you can do some math equation and figure out the size of the globe. But if on a flat surface I have 2 posts, okay, here's my 2 posts, and I have a light directly above this one. Is there a shadow over here? No, the light's directly above it, correct? Yep. Right? But this post over here, when the light's over here, is there a shadow? Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a shadow. Okay. So I can do some spherical geometry, and I can calculate the angle of that shadow and the no shadow and the distance, and I could tell you the sphericity of my flat table. Okay. Right? That's what they use. On the flat Earth system, the Earth is a closed system, just as Bill Nye says. The sun is within the Earth system, and you know the Earth is 70% water. Water at rest lays flat, always. We can see too far.
Now that we have cameras and stuff like that,
our cameras, our optics have outgrown their lies. Right?
Yeah, now you're able to see the stars. Do you have a picture of the stars you can show the audience there? I think that's one of my favorite.
What the zoom in on the stars? Give me a second here, and I'll pull up a video. I was going to add that to my presentation. I'll show you another one while I'm doing that. Is this. So have you seen my sun fade out?
I have not seen this one.
Yeah, on a super clear day, it has to be super clear. And I put my drone up as high as I can get it, and I watch the sunset. Now the sun appears to go down, 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 down. And when it gets right near the apparent horizon, because that's not land, although it's at camera eye level, the sun just stops going down. It sits there. This is just super sped up. It sits there. And then it just
shut up.
Yeah, it just fades away. Here it is again. It just fades away. It doesn't go down. It literally sat right here for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, it went from up here to here in 5 minutes, and then it sat here in 10 minutes, and then it just got smaller and smaller, and it faded away. And that's because the sun that we see is traveling in a circle, and the air density becomes opaque over distance, over a short distance. How about that?
Holy shit, man. I think that just sealed the deal right there for
Well,
me.
yeah. So there's a whole bunch of those, videos. That I've filmed it 7 times, I think, 7 or 8 times. And people are like, well, why are you the only one filming that? Because I'm the only one crazy enough to put my drone up on a freezing cold day when the sun is clear and filming a sun that's a tiny little speck. You can't even see it because it's so far away at that point. My friends down at the water's edge, they said that the water set 10 minutes earlier. You know, that the sun set 10 minutes earlier. What that really was is the sun just went beyond the tree line, you know, the whatever was in their distance that was above their eye level. Like, here is the trees above your eyes, and here's the sun. And as the sun goes away, it looks like it's set.
Yeah,
Whether
it looks like it's
cloud, if this is a cloud deck at 10,000 feet, it doesn't matter. At 20 miles, 10,000 feet merges with the horizon, and you can't tell that it's not above there. What video was I looking for?
the stars.
Stars.
The zoom in.
Yeah, the stars. Where's my stars video? What other questions you have?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask a few questions here before we hit the hour. So my dad has a question for you. I just told him I got a flat Earth guy coming on and knows his shit. He said, "Are there any?" And he put quotes when he said this. Are there any real academic scholars or scientists that came out and put their career on the line and said, "Yeah, the Earth is flat," or they went against the narrative?
There's oh, that's why I can't find it. There's scientists that come out, they lose their funding. You know, pilots that speak out, they get grounded. We've had pilots speak out and they've been grounded right after they do our show. The Qantas pilots have told us that they all talk about it in their lounges, but they don't talk about it publicly because they don't want to lose their jobs. It's quite telling.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I'm going to try to show, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the video. I haven't pulled up the stars video in a while, but when we zoom in on stars, they look nothing like what we see, what NASA shows us. You know, they sometimes they're out of focus and you can see these cymatic patterns. Sometimes they're dead in focus. And they don't look like, you know, what they tell us it is.
So I showed one of my buddies video of the stars, and he said that it's only like that because that's how light travels, and it reflects and retracts, or he's just using all these words spewing at me. What would you say to something like that? Like,
well, I mean, there's some people that just will not face reality. And when you look at it yourself, you know, why are we seeing this and NASA is showing us something completely different? Let me share my screen here. There it is. Okay. So this is a video, and I'm going to jump forward. This is the star Arcturus.
that is so trippy.
Yeah. And it looks nothing like the other stars. So, you know, if light just travels that way, well, it travels different for every star. I mean, it's insanity to believe that. So that's Arcturus. Here's another video. This I believe this is I forget which star this is.
That's so funny, dude. This is the video I showed my buddy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at the colors, and it's insane. That's how light travels. Come on.
So what do you think those are? Stars?
I think that stars. I think that our true souls come from the stars. I think that the stars are, for lack of a better word, angels. You know, are us. You know, the sun in the sky could be the son of God. Is this one Polaris? There's another star. Looks like it's underwater almost,
Yeah, it
right?
does.
Yeah, I filmed an LED light underwater and rippled the water, and it looked very interesting. You know, a lot of us believe that space is liquid.
The God separated the waters from the waters, right?
That's right. God separated the waters from the waters. Werner von Braun, the Nazi head of NASA, that's the only thing on his gravestone. These are all different stars. Okay. Astrology is the real science. You know, I was like, how could a distant planet, millions and millions of miles away, a rock affect my day? Right? Its gravity can't even nudge the moon out of its perfectly perfect orbit forever and ever. But when you realize that these things are local and within energetic, sentient in nature, that explains a lot of things way beyond our ability to comprehend.
It's almost like we're in a big brain, Earth is a memory, and these are just like neurons.
Very possible. Very possible.
That's so trippy, man. So I had another question here. It's actually a quick story and then a question. So I have this one buddy at work. He used to get super mad at me every time I would talk because I always loved talking about conspiracies. I'm a big Trump fan. I love Trump, so I would always just go in there and just talk about. I won't say it, but I'm sure you would know what I'm about to say. 17, and he hates me. He's just on my ass all the time. He's, you fucking conspiracy theorist, blah blah blah. I forgot what I got him on. It was 9/11. I started talking to him about that. He's like, okay, I get that. It makes sense. And then I went a little too far, and I said, what if there's no planes? I showed him some videos, and he's like, oh, let me guess, you're gonna say fucking flat Earth next. And I know enough of flat Earth to be able to have a conversation with someone about it. So I was like, listen, I gave him all the stuff. I was like, question this, question that, whatever, long story. Sent him a video, comes back the next day, and he just looks at me, shakes my hand. He's like, thank you. He's like, I stayed up so fucking late last night just watching all these videos, and we talk about it all the time.
So you made a flat Earth friend.
And dude, this is where the synchronicity comes in. This was like last week. And then really? I got your email, and I was like, I just right to him. I was just like, listen, man, this is fucking proof of something. And he's like, that's awesome, whatever. And then he's like, hey, can you ask that guy, why can we see through the moon? Like, what is the moon? And I was like, I thought it to myself. I was like, thought you'd be the good guy to answer that when it's a bright day and you can see the blue through the moon.
Yeah,
what would that make the moon?
Well, you look at the sky and you can see that there's more sky beyond the moon, right? It makes no sense. And at nighttime, the craters in the moon look black, but you can, again, these are out of our reach. You can argue that that it's just the density of the air. Like this is the moon viewed at the exact same minute from Australia and from England. Right. And so the craters look blue on one and dark in the other. And you could claim, you can make all sorts of claims on what it is, but I believe that the moon is projected into our reality, and its light is being projected. The moon has phases, and it makes its own phases. It might be connected to the sun. The sun's energy might be powering the moon. But when there's a new moon, no one has ever been able, no matter what kind of lens, high-flying aircraft, NASA, wherever, has been able to spot the moon for over 40 hours. It was just over 40 hours before it starts waxing with another crescent. No one's ever been able to see it. Now, on a full moon night, right, if you're away from the city, you have a full moon night, the moon is so friggin' bright, you can read by it, and it casts shadows on the ground, okay? So that's this dusty, dirty rock reflecting sunlight back to Earth this bright, okay? That's insane. Well, the Earth is 6 times larger than the moon, allegedly. Much shinier, right? It's got oceans and stuff. Its Earth shine should light up the moon enough for someone to see it. No one's ever seen it, right? I believe that's because the moon that we see is being projected through the firmament. So I'm going to show you a video here if I can pull it up, if I can multitask while I talk.
So just to clarify, you don't think the moon is affecting the water or our water?
I believe that the sun and the moon make an electromagnetic wake, which causes what we call Coriolis. So storms, most of the time, on one side of the equator spin one way, and on the other side spin the other way. But it doesn't always happen that way.
And what about us for when you're talking about astrology with the moon? How would that affect us? Same way, can't even say the word right now.
Electromagnetic?
Electromagnetic. So when people say it's a full moon, people are going crazy now.
Oh, all right.
Does it work the same way? It works the same way if it's projected?
I mean, think about this. The moon affects women's reproductive cycles. It affects our attitudes, right? It's not a rock 238,000 miles away. It's an energetic thing here. The moon is the biggest mystery of all. I think the moon has something to do with the delivery and the removal of souls, the transferring them from body to body. I think that the moon is involved with that. I can't prove it, but there's a lot of research that's gone into that. The moon is the moonlight is measurably colder. Do you know that it's colder in moonlight than in the shade? So you've seen those experiments,
yeah.
Provably. So it's a different kind of light. It is emanating its own light. You put a spotlight on a ball, it has a highlight, and then it gets faded. The moon right here, that doesn't look like it has a highlight. The whole thing is lit. It's like, somebody had like a hollow plastic ball and had a light in it that spun around, and it made perfect phases of the moon, light in it, right? But I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying that's an explanation of what it could be. I don't personally think that's what it is. But I'm going to share my screen again. And so have you seen this eclipse video? This is me viewing the eclipse. It was a hazy day. And this was the solar eclipse we had back August last year, I think. And so the question is, no one has ever seen the moon approach the sun or leave the sun. They just see this eclipse happen, right? No one's ever seen it from any angle, as I was just saying, because it's a new moon, supposedly, that's doing it. And no one's ever seen it approach or exit the sun. They just see this eclipse happen. So how could that be? Remember before I said that the sun and the moon are projected into the firmament, into our reality? So this is what I think this is me speculating. This is how it could happen. So I made a little model of showing how the moon could be affecting the sun. So this is recreating this eclipse. Right? There's a total lunar eclipse. That's kind of exactly what we see.
Yeah.
That pretty good, right? I did it with a paper towel, and I'll show you how I did it. So the paper towel is the sky, okay? It's the projector screen that everything's being beamed into. And on the other side is the source of the sun and the moon. Well, there's the moon isn't being projected in because there's no light on it. That's all I did. So that's a new moon. And if that moon went around and started getting phases, you would start seeing the moon on this paper sheet. See that? So now I'm going to show you another video. Is this the one I'm playing right now? That's the one I'm playing, right? 157. Let me find the other one. So there was another eclipse after that where somebody filmed something very strange. Let me find it. Here it is. So let me jump forward. So this is showing the eclipse you just saw. This is my fake eclipse. This is the real eclipse. Pretty darn good. Looks similar, right? Looks pretty similar. And nobody can see the moon because there's nothing to project. There's no light on the moon being projected into our sky. So this was somebody filmed this in Michigan. Now you got to remember the sun is much less bright. This is almost a full eclipse going on, and there's a lens flare, which is that thing that's moving around. That's a lens flare. But then there's this piece right here. okay, which is locked in position, okay, and they kind of look like they're being eclipsed, right? The reason that the sun doesn't look eclipsed is because it's so bright, it's just blowing out the lens. But the sun is literally the same amount eclipsed as these little things. But we're able to see kind of past the brightness of the sun right now. So that one that's locked into position, the one that's locked into position is the projector that is the source of the sun that's being projected into our reality. Okay, that one right there, that's the source, and that curved eclipsing crescent is being projected into our reality, and that's what we see. Okay, just like that. So I said, I was thinking, okay, how can we see that thing? Maybe the sky isn't as opaque as my paper towel. So what I did was I got a thinner sheet I actually used tissue paper, and watch what happens when I do this. This is going to blow your mind. Okay. And mind you, if the moon was like a half moon, I would see a half moon on that, projected onto that. So let me just jump forward here. So here it is. I'm eclipsing it, and look right there.
What the fuck?
That's the source of this light. That is the source of this light. Okay. There's the actual eclipse on the left, that little curve. That's the source light behind the paper towel. And I'm claiming that one there is the source light behind. So this is the light behind the towel that's projecting this into our reality. And then this here, this is a real eclipse. This is the source projecting this into our reality.
Dude, you're tripping me out.
Nobody's come up with anything better than that.
That's fucking
That's my
trippy,
YouTube
man.
channel, DITRH, by the way. Yeah.
That really just tripped me out.
It goes on and on, man. It goes on forever. I think we can leave it there for today.
Yeah,
How's that?
I think so too. That last one was just gonna give me nightmares tonight.
Well, the thing is,
good ones, right?
Once you see flat Earth, you can't unsee it anymore. It's amazing. So I'm telling everybody, get the app. Point your camera right at that. It'll get right there. It's $2.99. When you get the app, it asks you to agree to terms and agreements. You can read the terms and service, but it's less than what a calculator asks for. It's the minimum amount that Google and Apple require. And the biggest thing is it asks for your location, so it can put you on the right spot, and it can get your local weather and everything else. But if you don't want to do that, you can just turn off locations and set it manually. Okay, I've made it for the most paranoid people in the world. Where you don't have to worry about it. And take the Flat Earth app challenge. Watch the video every single day, and just go read the reviews. Go read the reviews on the app, and people will just tell you. Occasionally there's someone, your app sucks, it crashed, and it's because their phone was full or whatever. If anyone has a problem with the app, there's very few problems. Just email us and we'll figure it out and correct it. And if it's a glitch in the code because of your phone's weird, we'll fix it and make it work. So no worries there.
Well, where else do you want people to find you? To spell the YouTube channel, DIRTH?
The YouTube channel is the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, DITRH, not Dearth, DITRH. The initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. And the Flat Earth Podcast, if you want audio, like when you're walking around, traveling, bike riding, whatever, the Flat Earth Podcast it's on every app, every podcast player, SoundCloud, iTunes.
Your latest one has an awesome intro. Donald Trump.
Yeah. So listen. If you watch this and paid attention, you know that there's problems with the globe. But if you're still like, all right, I'm not there yet. I give you the Flat Earth podcast challenge. Listen to the first 5 episodes, and not only will you know that the Earth is not a ball, you'll be a full-on flat earther. I
love it, brother. Thank you so much for coming on, man. That was Awesome. I'm speechless, honestly. That was probably the first podcast that I didn't talk as much as I usually do. And thank you for that.
No problem. All right, and everybody, this is the most important topic of our time because it's how we got into this friggin' mess in the first place. People are lost in space and are unable to claim their divinity.
Fucking right, man. Fucking right. All right, brother. Thank you so much. And for everybody, I just have a message to you. Stay safe out there, guys. It's crazy times. Don't get yourself kicked off the internet like I did. But stand up for what you believe in. Decentralize, dethrone, and decide.